Hi, a very good morning to all attendees of Telecoms Go Asia. My name is Scott Howe. I am the Senior Technical Sales Consultant at Nexusguard, and I'm glad to be here today to speak about Skyrocket your cybersecurity with Nexusguard Managed DDoS Mitigation Platform. A very big thank you to Telecoms Go Asia by having me. With people spending more time than ever before online, the number of potential targets and cyber attacks skyrocketed. Communication service providers, CSP, especially Internet Service Provider ISP, were among the prime targets, suffering more attacks than other sectors. How new attacks and outages are posing new challenges for CSPs. With this, my presentations today will be covering in three main areas. First of all, the latest DDoS challenges posed to CSP and the other solutions that can maximize the cybersecurity services for different customer segments and protections. Second, the benefits of Nexusguard True Hybrid and its 360-degree DDoS protection service and solutions. Third, and lastly, I will demonstrate and to deploy Nexusguard Managed Mitigation Platform by setting up DDoS protections via a green pipe service, which I believe CSP will be much interested on these areas. To set up detections by showing how we can detect bits and pieces attacks. Not forgotten, excuse me, to configure a mitigation policy by activating smart filters. You're probably going to ask me why is smart filter is all about. The smart filters in our solutions is a filter where it can adjust itself in an event of attack to ensure the mitigation is effective and can be maintained as reflectors by the accuracy indicators. Lastly, to share on Nexusguard Cloud Diversions app, where auto diversions is then activated when the traffic exceeds a predefined bandwidth over a customizable time periods. DDoS solutions posted to ISP. Several factors make service providers especially vulnerable. Their huge customer base and during pandemic spike in data traffic attracts cyber criminals who take advantage of the fact that many CSP don't invest sufficiently in security apps-related services. The growth in the Internet of Things, IoT, and connected devices, which introduces more endpoint on the networks, also present new opportunities for more sophisticated attacks. In some cases, service providers are collateral damage because DDoS attack that take aims at just one of their customers can bring down the entire or the whole networks. So from the slide itself, you'll be able to see that in terms of the ISP challenges, they will be coming from the traffic diversity, the link over utilizations, so as the technology versus cost. The traffic diversity will be very much coming into the concern for ISP whenever there's a DDoS been happen in their environments, how they're going to diversify the attack, or probably they will go to leverage on third-party solution to have that to be mitigated. As for link over utilizations, it's a sudden shift of DDoS traffic causes the link congestions, eventually impacted the ISP services quality. So ISP faced with the decision whether they want to black hole the entire bad traffic coming into their environments, or probably they want to have to diversify their attack to a third-party solutions or providers. There's challenges in their minds. When it comes to cost versus technologies, most organizations think they will not be targeted by cyber attacks. However, when they fall victims, they have been caught flat-footed and scrambling to respond. Security should always be a top priority's native integrated approach, not an afterthought or a fortunate byproduct for another infrastructure initiative. It's coming from external customers aspect and demand always on high-speed service with data security, and they are likely to go elsewhere if the CSP does not deliver on the service level agreement as per se the SLA. As for coming from the internal users' point of view, they are having a high expectation as well, and they will not tolerate having their day-to-day operations or their ability to serve customers who are compromised. As the ideal solutions coming from Nexusguard services and solutions, when the CSP or the ISP, they onboarded our solution into their data center, they will be able to straight away protect their own networks. As you can see, the most left side boxes where they onboarded the services into their networks. The entire network will be able to protect the entire CSP environments, so-called the service partners with us. In the center box, you'll be able to see the green services whenever you onboarded the services. So the service itself is not only protecting your networks, but it also extended the protections to all your downstream customers as by default. And also the right box over here will be able to provide a total protections with using the OP, AP, and DB services by coming from the origin protections, applications, as well as the DNS solutioning, go after to those customers. They are not only riding on your networks, but they're also subscribing to other ISP as well. So from there, with those customers or your downstream customers, they are having a multi-home type of ISP connectivities, you'll be able to extend the services, the so-called DDoS services, to be able to protect on those downstream customers where they are with a different type of IP services as the backup link. It's coming for the 4 pillars of services. We'll be very much pitching, and also we are very proud to share that Nexusguard ourselves, we are always coming from different layers of protections. As for the most left-hand side, you will be able to see the application protections. We are using on the reverse proxy and always on protections as offered to all our customers by having the SSL offloading, WAF, cache, and loop balancing have a unique features within the application protection itself. So CSP will be able to offer that as a value-added services or features to be able to turn on when there's a specific requirement from your customers. The second pillars of origin protections is by leveraging on BGP swing implementations, which is having the NetFlow and GRE to be able to set up and also to build from your data center to your customer environments in order to ensure the NetFlow be constantly collected back from your customers to do the analysis and to ensure the green traffic eventually returning back via the GRE tenants. And this we would like to have the targets of the customers where they have their own class C or their own AS number. As for print services from the CSP point of view, I will believe they would like to know better more than to offer the network connectivity to the client, and at the same time by having value-added services on top of what the network services has already landed to their customers, there's a value add for them to position themselves by having subscribed to the DIS services, and eventually they will also be protected over on their DDoS services. We onboarded into the CSP environment as well. And the last pillar, the DNS protections, will be very much, and also the NINSPA by itself, by protecting the customer DNS servers, the domain name services, by either going to the options of proxy, reverse proxy options, or they want to have some hosting options to be protected on their DNS as options for the customer to choose for. When it comes to benefit of Nexusguard through hybrid solutions, so Nexusguard through hybrid models combine on-premise and cloud mitigation capacities and functionalities. The solution is ideally suited for customers' environments that demands extremely low latency and multi-layers protections. In some jurisdictions, data sovereignty is of utmost importance to service providers. Hybrid implementations automatically selects and the appropriate mitigation locations and to employ the optimal mitigation technique depending on the sources, characteristics, tools, and the volume of given attacks. Domestic and international traffic are handled in tandem by an on-premise appliance and globally by Nexusguard Cloud to ensure the lowest latency and the shortest time to mitigations. As you can see from the picture, the MS7000, which is the DDoS mitigation platform, will eventually going to install in the CSP environments with a hand-in-hand and integrated seamlessly with Nexusguard Cloud all over the regions and all over the world. The on-premise and cloud services also share intelligence about an attack in order to accelerate and enhance mitigations while an attack reaches the cloud. After scrubbing, the green traffic is integrated in green colors, is routed back to the customer's environments, and the attack reports are then generated automatically for the on-the-fly analysis. As coming out to the managed services as per se, Nexusguard ourselves, our product and also our services propositions will be coming from the ongoing support of initiative. Meaning to say that Nexusguard ourselves, we have a proven track records that for those CSP partners within the regions, they are very much leveraging on terms of what is the support which eventually given from Nexusguard to all of our partners within the regions. Meaning to say that if we are comparing with our peers or probably our friendly competitors, their approaches very much into an installation base. Whenever they install completions into a CSP environments, will most likely there is the closure of their project and also come to the end of the deployment. Whereas Nexusguard ourselves, we promise our CSP partners we will be given an ongoing support which is related to the issue of the platform support when it comes to maintenance and upgrade. When it comes to NSG SOC, our Nexusguard SOC, which is running 24/7. And not forgotten also the very important pieces to make our CSP success is the things that we have a genuine GTM to go to market support when it comes to sales related matters, pre-sales, products, as well as marketing and supports. From that, you will have a track of materials and also collectibles of these services where you can eventually lower up quickly into markets and get our services up and running as whenever you have the plans within your product roadmaps. As Nexusguard solutions in terms of the advanced technologies compared with our peers, as you can see from the period chart itself, we are coming from the point of easy client management all the way until the multi-tenancy. So by having said so, on my later demo and also my border walkthrough, we're going to explain a little bit more in terms of how we're going to protect or going after to a host, a specific host detections, a specific network blocks or IP addresses detections. The detection will be very much related to our mode of detections options where you can choose for, where we can have a normal detections, we can have a rapid as well as we can have our smart detection as well. It depends on the threshold and also the policy profiling eventually the CSP would like to offer to their client. And also not forgotten also our AI assisted mitigations. When it comes to mitigations as per se, over the portal, I'm going to walk through a little bit more in terms of how our filters will be able to customize of the filtering options, where you'll be able to have the configuration down to every single type of protocols, where eventually we can do that baselining and alignments back to the mitigations portfolio, which is suite or probably to go to customize back to your customers' environments or your customers' requirements specifically to protect a specific network host on an entire network block segments by itself. To introduce Nexusguard 360-degree DDoS protection services, you still remember from my previous slide, we are talking about the three main pillar of services, which is coming from the infra protect. When you onboarded Nexusguard solution into your data center, you will then by default be protected by Nexusguard, have the entire network under protections. It's going to the origin protections, DNS and applications. We will be very much protecting for those customers where they are not only riding on your networks, but they also have a multi-home services from other ISP. So therefore, they will be able to have that protections by subtracting the DDoS solutioning from the CSP where they onboarded our services into the data center. And in the middle center of the services, if you still remember and recall, the clean path services is the one where the customers, they are writing on the network services from the CSP. So by having a value-added services on top of the network connectivities where the CSP have already offered to customers, has been able to turn it on, and that by default, the CSP will be able to protect those customers as a direct downstream customers who is riding on their DIA as the direct internet access services as well. There's a lot of challenges coming from the mindset of CSP. So not forgotten also, the DDoS attack is too large and too complicated for the in-house team to be handled. So that is true. So whenever we go to visit a lot of our CSP partners in the regions, they will have this stuff in mind where will be the first challenges when they want to bring the solution back to their management team or probably to the board of management. So it will be not ignoring the attacks are increasingly complex and persistent. So I mean to say that for last time, most of our attacks, they will most likely coming into L3 and L4, but nowadays, the attacks coming from multi-angles. They could be coming from your layer 7, and also it could be coming from a different type of the both engines, which is eventually combined as a DDoS services. And also because as a deny of services, we're eventually going to spread over the entire networks where the customers, they themselves can't be handled. Right? And the point is highlighted here, the comprehensive protections, attack sources, the costly deployments. So I mean to say that in order to really identify the right solution for the CSP, you need to identify the upfront payment costs, mean to say that the CapEx versus OpEx solutioning. So whereas Nexus ourselves will have multiple options for the CSP to choose for, whether you want to go for a full OpEx type of model solutioning. So we have options ready and tailor-made for a specific CSP to go ahead with the solutions and services. The solutions coming from Nexusguard ourselves will be very much coming from the points where we highlighted over here, the comprehensive security services, mean to say that our services and our protections will not really stay on the layers of layer 3 and layer 4, whereas our solutions is already extended until layer 7, which is within a one box, or we call ourselves as a cloud in the box solutioning, where compared with our peer, where probably they need to deploy a few boxes in order to achieve the multi-layers type of multi-layers protections as per se. For global scoping cloud, we have our global scoping center with over the world. So with that, you will have a better options. If let's say you want to have a bigger type of vulnerability, the volumetric attacks, you can be always leveraging in terms of getting our Nexusguard cloud to have that protections over to a bigger or larger attack, which is beyond the attack size on what your on-premises solution can be handled. And also our 24/7 security SOC centers, as mentioned just now. Yeah, we are working hand in hand with the SOC team as well, with a granular visibility and control, and also automated of intelligent detection mitigations, as well as the lower total cost of ownership. This is the criteria and also the solution moving forwards. We be able to persuade CSP and let CSP to have alternative options to think about a different solutioning which is suitable for their CSP and for their data center, as to go the DDoS solutioning for their client and customers as well. So by having said so, I'm going to quickly run through a demo with to be having to share within my sections. Yeah. So from here, I'm going to activate the clean pipe partitions for customers in the CSP networks. So from there, you'll be able to see on how I'm going to set up the clean pipe customers by having the siders to be able to protect under the entire network block segments with a setup just a few clicks away, meaning to say that with our solutioning within our portal services, we'll be able to set up and also to provision the clean pipe services in a very fast and also in a very quick manners. So the other things, the second items, are going to set up a detection mode. Meaning to set up from the detector option itself, you'll be able to see that how the detection will be able to handle not only the entire network block, but it also drill down into a host level to protect specific IP addresses. And third, we're going to configure the mitigation policy to have a different filters which is going after to protect by turning on and activated the smart filters. The smart filters will eventually be able to adjust itself when there is a DDoS being happens within a specific IP block or a specific IP addresses as per se. And lastly, we're going to demonstrate on the cloud diversion apps on how we're going to diversify those attacks over to our cloud. If there is options for the customers or the CSP themselves, they would like to leverage on the largest attack mitigations over to Nexusguard cloud instead of very much limited themselves on their on-premises boxes capacities only. All right. So from here, I will going to quickly switch it over to my demo portals. All right. So as you can see, this is the dashboard of my demo portals. So for the interest of time, I have already previously configured the customers under the demo account. So let us go into the customers account. So from here, you'll be able to see all the customers account has already listed over into the administrator portals. As per se, if let's say this is the CSP environments, and this dashboard will be belong to a specific CSP by me, right? So from here, you'll be able to see that not only a single customer will be able to display over the dashboard. However, you'll be able to see that every single customer, there will be given a customer ID. So from there, you'll be able to identify also what is the services and what is the solutions that customers has already subscribed back to you as a CSP. So from here, as I has already created the demo account under TWA21 as a clean pipe services. When I click in the clean pipe services, I will be able to see the entire site info and the network space. So from here, I'll be able to add more site. Let's say I have a different, I need to add all more site into this profile. I've been just simply click on the add site. And also not forgotten also, which whatsoever has already pre-configured into my policy, you're going to show it up under the dashboard overview. So for the dashboard overview itself, you'll be able to see the overview of the peacetime traffic, the attack site traffic, and also the block end. Yeah. So I mean to say that from here, you'll be able to see the live attack traffic whenever there's an attack being happens within a specific network segments or network or the IP addresses. As you can see the active mitigations here, as I has already previously, the IP addresses of 188.8.8.1 all the way until 0.8. This is a host level where I has already previously configured within the profile of the entire network block or the entire network siders. All right. And not forgotten also, in terms of policy, you'll be able to set up the policy. For these cases, I would like to demonstrate on how we're going to set up on terms of the mitigations profile, which is going after to this specific network segments, and also how we're going to do our auto mitigations, how we're going to do our detections. And let's say we want to have a specific templates, we're going to eliminate or going to have some mitigations of the normal templates which is the system can do, and to demonstrate also the packet captures is going to showcase at the end of the day. All right. By having clicked on the specific host addresses which fall under the network segments, I will be able to do my mitigations. So before going to the mitigations, from the overview itself, you will be able to see that there's a customization buttons for you, whether you want to custom to make the detections as auto or manual, or you want to black hole the IP addresses whenever there's an attack detection being detected. So from here, you'll be able to mitigate by having the mitigations filtering profile over here. You can do your mitigation based on a lot of block lists, yeah, in terms of the IP source prefixes and source countries. And also you can do a bongo IP addresses to filters on the bongo addresses is related to this network host address. Besides, you'll be able also to do the anti-flood, right? You can have the anti-flood to be configured over here by having the ICMP flood, TCP, as well as the UDP flood as well. By having said so, the fast filter is also in the areas of giving you the flexibilities to have the filter set, to have the custom filters, as well as you can have an advanced payload filtering. If let's say you want that advanced filtering to be into configurations within this IP hosts. And also not forgotten also, as just as I mentioned, the smart filtering is one of the options for you to have the smart filter in the events of, it can be adjusted by itself whenever there's attack going after to these specific host addresses, right? The zombie addresses, you can make the zombie over the specific host or specific network as well. And also not forgotten the traffic policing. You can make a policing based on the number of threshold, basis based on the configurations. Eventually you want to give the total of threshold eventually be reaching into this policy in order to do the mitigation as well. After you have already finished the mitigations, you'll be able to go to the detections. So the detection mode, as I mentioned, we can have 3 modes in terms of detections: the normal modes, the rapid mode, and also the smart mode. The normal mode is basically based on the threshold and also time-based. Whenever there is a detection of traffic within 3 minutes, or we call, or probably in the system itself is 180 seconds. So whenever there's a continuous attack or volumetric size of the threshold coming into this policy, it will be triggered the normal detections. Then the normal detection will then be kickstart to do the mitigation as well. So when it comes to rapid is a quite fast response in terms of the attack detections. Whenever there's a continuous of about 60 seconds of the attack detections being detected by this rapid options or detection mode, you'll be able to kick in to do the mitigations. And also based on the policy and also the protocol has already previously configured under the rapid modes. And for these cases and for this use case, we are going to have the smart mode to be turned on. The smart mode will not going to have any threshold, and it will not be able to have the thresh of the protocols or the policy which be able to be configured or be able to have the settings on that. So what smart mode stands for is basically if you have the AI at the back, the artificial intelligence engines will be running automatically with auto baselining of the customer environments. You're going to have the trends or historical record being stored into the database. And eventually, if you're going to use that database as a baselining, whenever we need to have the recommendation back to the customers that there is the baselining, we eventually introduce back to that customer's environments from the previous learning where the system have already captured. Yeah, so this is the smart mode detections where eventually the customers can be able to deploy into their environments. And not forgotten also the templates where the customers they can set on IP side, they can have the flat filters and they can have a properly a different routes if they say they want to configure within the templates. And the packet capture as well. Yeah, so these are the things that it means the live packet capture analysis on the admins or customers portals for each profile, which is whether it's in a single user's account login or allowed to capture one sections at one time. So these all the mitigations, detections, and also the overview eventually is fall under a host attack detections where the customers and where the CSP can be able to configure to their customers as policy configurations for the mitigations. Yeah. So from here, we have the activity as well to show what is the activity being has already happened within the portals, the resources, yeah, the admin portals, the administrator, they will be able to download a copy of the admin portal user guide. So in order to really identify and be able to manipulate the entire portals to understand better and in depth on how the entire portals look like and how eventually the administrator can be able to operate the entire portals. And not forgotten the app as well. The apps, as I mentioned, so eventually we can be able to have the configuration of the smart filters in order to have the system to have the auto detections and auto adjustment when it comes to attack mitigations and detections for a certain IP addresses or the network block of IP where the customers they would like to have a smart filtering to handle on specific requirements going after to their attack mitigations as well. And not forgotten also the Nexusguard cloud diversions, This is the area where during my very first sharing of presentations, yeah. So we are talking about whenever there's a threshold which has exceeded your on-premises boxes solution or capacity, it will be able to turn on the Nexusguard cloud diversions auto cloud diversion app, where eventually by leveraging the auto cloud diversion app, it will be able to fill over to the Nexusguard cloud all over the regions. I mean the Nexusguard global scrubbing centers. So from there, we will have a largest capacity of mitigations, which be able to handle post-perimeter attacks with direct going after to CSP environments. So by that, the CSP themselves, they don't need to worry when it comes to a volumetric type of attack, which is beyond their on-premise capacity. They have to black hole the customers' traffic, where eventually the customers will then be impacted badly whenever there's the traffic being backhauled or being blacklisted. So there's the concern whenever there's auto mitigations versus the blackholing, where most of the CSP they are still running at the moment, and they are still believing the backholing is one of the options for them when it comes to mitigations. So whereas coming from Nexusguard product propositions, our solutions were very much different, where we can leverage not only on the on-premises solution boxes, where the capacity can be handled by the on-premise box, or else it will going to fall over to our Nexusguard scrubbing center all over the different regions to have the bigger side of attack mitigations, which will be able to handle by Nexusguard cloud solutions as global offload solutionings. All right. So by that, I'm going to switch it back to my PowerPoint presentations. So with that, a little bit of ending thoughts. Yeah. So for better or worse, the last year has changed a lot of the mindset of CSP. So it reflects on the years of all us up and downs, and we have learned many lessons, not just about how prepared actors are using COVID-19 as leverage to create havoc, but about how remote workings in a digital world can keep our society functions in a time of lockdown and quarantines. So let's hope that our life will return to some semblance of normal values. In the meantime, always maintain good personal hygiene and remember to change your password regularly. Stay safe. And eventually, I would like to have a very big thank you to Telecoms World Asia for having me. Thank you for all attendees, and I very much look forward to share even more in the future events if given the opportunity again. Thank you.